This is the advice that I would have given my younger self pre-spiritual awakening. So today is my 29th birthday. My name is Araya. I'm here in France right now. I am solo traveling with my dog Arlo, who is sleeping on the ground and just living his best life. We are doing van life now, although we are in a home. And I am just in a place right now where I feel very aligned and on my soul's path. And it took a lot of, I don't even know if I'd want to call it work, but really deconditioning and remembering and choosing what I want and going for it no matter what. And so I don't want to say anymore because I actually am so organized today for this video. If you've been with me for the past 2.5 months or at any point in those 2.5 months of sharing on here, then you would know I just kind of free flow in my videos. I don't really plan out what I'm going to say other than the general topic. And today I really wanted to make it organized because there's so much that's about to come through. We're going to talk about health, relationships, abundance, spirituality, and life, and all the advice that I would give to my younger self within those topics. And so my spiritual awakening, I say this because it's not like you just have one spiritual awakening and then you're just done and you're awake and you're enlightened. No, I had my spiritual awakening in 2013 or 2014. And it was at one of my lowest lows, like if not the lowest low. I was so just, young, but also I was like 19. I got a DUI. I was chronically ill from getting in that car accident from the DUI. It triggered all these things within me. I had severe cystic acne. I was partying all the time. I was so disconnected. Before the accident, I was dealing with eating disorders. I was just like, I didn't know myself. And so when I had my spiritual awakening, the biggest aha was getting to know myself and realizing that there's things about me that I actually love, and then finding so much more within that, and that I have purpose, and that I survived that car accident for a reason. And so I had that spiritual awakening where I was just like, oh my gosh, connected to everything. I understood the meaning of life, it felt. And then I lost it, right? It was 10 years ago. And then I went back into old habits. I went into deeper lessons. And so it all brought me to this moment here with all the things that I have to share with you. And so if I don't have any regrets, I don't think anyone should have regrets because it's all divine timing. You're going through what you need to go through right now for who you need to be in your entire life's path. But if I were able to give advice to that girl who was younger and lost and didn't really know who she was and didn't, understand that she has purpose and that there's a reason for her being on earth, and it's not just to fit into the system and to get a job and to work your whole life and to, date people who make you unhappy and to spend time with friends who just don't support you. It was none of that. And so let's get into it before I just say everything that's already in these. Okay, so if I'm looking down, it's because I'm trying not to miss any of this. But this isn't even in a category. This was just the first thing that I really wanted to share because it was so important and changed my life in every way. Is daily meditation is the single most effective thing that you can do for yourself that will improve all areas of your life. And I know it's we hear about spirituality or about meditation all the time, but I've gone through waves, many waves where I committed to it and I'm not. I say I'm a meditator even though I'm it's been months since I've meditated. And I say that this is the most important thing because when you're aware of your existence, of your body, of your breath, you are aware of the truth of who you are because you are the awareness. So you change the momentum, the entire momentum of your life if you can get into a habit of being in that space. Because when you're in that space, it's everything that's going away, that's maybe not in alignment with your truth, it kind of starts to be pulled back if you're in that centered place. And so then it can be redirected to a more soul-aligned path. And so in the topic of health, I had the eating disorders, yeah, but then I also had chronic illness. I went through Lyme disease, I went through toxic mold stuff with mast cell activation syndrome, chronic inflammatory response syndrome. Like, I was chronically ill. I thought I was gonna die. Like, it was insane. I spent my first year of treatment, once I got a diagnosis, was over $400,000 from what I remember. Insurance covered a lot of that, but it was a lot. And so I learned a lot in that whole process, a lot about the body, but also just like how much more simple it could be than doing all of those treatments. And it was way more than that, because I also would buy like a sauna and all the, holistic treatments and all the supplements and all the things. All my money went, and all my energy and dedication went to my health for a long time, a long, long time. And so number one, it's not about restriction. And I say this in the beginning, yes, obviously, like I said, the eating disorders, but also when I was with a doctor, a holistic functional MD, it was like so much about like gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, nightshade-free, soy-free, all that. But eating meat and eating eggs and so that's not exactly what my body was wanting. And so I think it's more about an abundance of the things that make you feel good. My spiritual awakening happened when I was only eating a plant-based diet, and that's not what I'm recommending to people, but it's what supported me in healing my entire body. There's a period of time within the last 10 years where I felt the best that I ever felt, honestly. And so I'm honestly moving towards that again right now. But it was when I gave myself a period of just eating real whole foods. And for me personally, not meat or eggs or dairy products, but maybe that works for your body. And that's part of the message too, is when you find your intuition, it's like your curiosity. It's, let's quiet that. It's what's guiding you, and you follow that, because my curiosity was guiding me to people who were eating this way, and that's what led me to having that experience of having like perfect health and clarity and all this stuff. And so you have to be able to follow what that is for you. And then when you're eating that way, like when I was eating that way and having only plants and like no processed food at all, the biggest part of that, I think why it was working for me, is because I wasn't in the mindset of like, this is restriction. Like, this is a raw vegan diet and I cannot eat dairy, I cannot eat this, that mindset is a lack mindset. And when I looked at it like, I can eat as much as I want, I'm eating these high vibration, high frequency foods. Fruit, they've been able to measure the frequencies of food. Fruit is the highest, berries are the highest frequency food, pork is the lowest frequency food, so that's something too that's just interesting. But I was in an abundance mindset. I was like, what does my body want now? And I was just so in tune because I wasn't being controlled by alcohol, caffeine, sugar. Like, I wasn't on those highs and those loops that like really affect your brain. And so that gave me a lot of clarity. And I think that like one of the biggest things is that food will heal you and open you up to the divine, but you have to follow the diet that you're being called to do. I think the most basic and simple way to look at it is, as long as it's whole foods, and yeah, there's so much about that, because even with a condition that I have, mast cell activation syndrome, like all these foods that are high histamine, banana and spinach and avocado and all those things, it's like I went down the path of like trying to restrict those. But I think that the way through healing even that condition is still eating a whole food diet and not necessarily focusing on the histamine part, but focusing on healing the body through food. And then there won't be the problem of having too much histamine. So alcohol is damaging your health, clarity, soul's ability to come through. The way I've been seeing alcohol more and more recently is that it's a way to control people, like if you know, you're on this path and you know what you want, you're following your soul and you're like trying to live a healthy life, but you have those occasional nights where you go out and you drink too much, or even if it's just one glass of wine, like depending on your body and like how frequently you're drinking, it can really knock you off your progress of connecting with your inner guidance and your soul and creating a life from that place. And so I go back and forth with this all the time, but I don't think that alcohol supports at all. I know there's like theories, I learned about this in nutrition school, is like alcohol, like 1 glass of alcohol a day can like help with your chi flow. And I know that that is possible, but personally, it's like, I do think that it's a way to control people and keep them away from their truth, because what happens to the world when we're all living in our truth, when we're all following our soul's path and we're like empowered to do whatever, be whatever, like we can have whatever we want, then the systems that thrive off of us being workers and not thinkers will collapse. And so there's so much in that. It's like the cell phones too, like our social media, like there's so many things, Netflix, like shows, all these things that just distract us and keep us away from our power. And so I think it's really important to look at the things that are controlling you and that you're addicted to. Caffeine too is a big one for me as well. And sugar, like when I usually don't have any sugar in my diet. And when I do, I will notice how I'm different for like 5 days, 3 to 5 days. Like the things that I want, I thought I silenced you, huh? The things that I want in my diet for that entire 5 days are so different than how I crave food intuitively when I'm not controlled on that like loop of the sugar high. I want like bread and carbs and more sugar, and so it's incredible. Like when you remove all that stuff and just get clear, like maybe you can just commit to like a month of like just eating so clean and maybe taking a break from social media and, you know, not letting yourself be controlled. But it's not easy, like at first, especially, you know, if you've ever deleted a social media app and you always go back to open it up and you're like, where is it? Like, it's just habit. We're on these loops. And so if you want to take control of your life, you have to be able to break those patterns that have been created for you that are keeping you controlled. And your body is trying to speak to you. And so when I had like my chronic cystic acne for so long, I don't know, 7, 8 years, like it was so bad. It was like my entire face, like I would smile and start bleeding. It was a lot. And so the way that made me feel was that I felt so much shame and guilt and embarrassment. I was afraid of people looking at me. I like, you know, I just wanted to hide. And so all those feelings that were associated to acne for me, because it's different for everyone. I have another friend and she has or had acne, and her experience with it was so different. She's like, I don't really feel the guilt and the shame and all that about it. And so it's different for her. For me, those were the feelings. And when I learned to heal those parts of myself, and honestly, because the acne happened after the DUI, when I finally started talking about it online and like fully accepting myself, because that was the thing in my life that I was most ashamed of, like most embarrassed of. And exactly that, like the acne was a physical manifestation of those frequencies and emotions that were living within me. And so when I addressed those and chose love and acceptance, my skin cleared. Like I'm just thinking about it right now, that timeline matches up so perfectly. When I first started talking about it is when my acne officially cleared. And also the toxicity, so like toxicity, mycotoxins, mold was a big part of it too, but the toxicity wasn't just my environment, just in my body, it was also people. Like when I left toxic relationships, friendships, and romantic, and put boundaries on the ones that I did keep in my life, I was able to heal in ways too. The toxicity was leaving my field in all ways, you know, mind, body, soul. And so what do we have next? Majority of chronic illnesses can be healed with brain retraining and neuroplasticity. I wish that I knew this in the beginning of my health journey, and I naturally did do it. I just didn't have the awareness around it. So when I went down, you know, one of the ebbs and flows of losing that health that I had experienced, I was like, what happened to it? And it's because I wasn't practicing my brain retraining and keeping my neuroplasticity in alignment with health and abundance and love and joy. And so we can retrain our brain because there are so many ways to do it. And the most easy concept to understand is that neurons that fire together wire together. And so we might have these symptoms and these conditions purely out of our body just recognizing them, just by having it be familiar and just by continuing the pattern and the loops of living that. And so we can retrain the brain to no longer have symptoms, to no longer be manifesting situations of lack and, you know, no money and debt and toxic relationships. And like, we can retrain the brain for anything. And so I wish that, not wish, but I would have told myself about tapping, EFT tapping, which is free. You can do it yourself at home. There's a lot of resources online. I have a couple videos on it. There's other people who have a lot of videos on it too. Joe Dispenza, I would have told myself all about Joe Dispenza and his meditations and his books, and that probably would have saved me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and years and years and years of trying to heal. Big one, conscious rest. They're both big, but I was talking about the neuroplasticity, but also conscious rest. Conscious rest, like, we've been talking a lot about that on this channel recently, but conscious rest is not scrolling on your phone. It's not like, it's really, conscious rest is relaxing. Like, what actually relaxes you? My best friend and I used to lay on this stone. We called it the no phone stone. No phones were allowed, obviously. And it was right by a creek. And we would lay there and we would just watch the water go by, and we would watch like the leaves kind of like hit the water, and maybe like drops of water would like fall from the leaves, and we would listen to the noises and the birds, and we were just present, right? We were meditating in a different way than eyes closed meditation. And then we would watch as like, okay, time to go. We would pick up our phone and then we would just check our notifications, and we were so in awareness that we were like, oh my God, like my energy just dropped so much. Like, I'm bothered by this text message, like this notification on social media threw me off. Like, and so we got to see like what conscious rest actually is. It's like being present and grateful and in awe, and, you know, in that creative space, whether you're observing creativity or you're like being creative yourself, like doing painting or some kind of, you know, craft work or hobbies. Like, something that I've been looking into a lot recently are hobbies. Like, what are your hobbies? What do you do just for you? Not for personal development, not for other people, not for potentially building a business one day. Like, I'm so guilty of that. All the things that I've done, like, I always have it in the back of my mind, like, oh, this could be a business one day. And it's like, what do you just do because you enjoy it? Oh, Arlo, baby boo-boos, let's not do that right now. I know you're not supposed to wake up dogs, but he was about to start barking and like going off in his sleep. Arlo, boo-boos, hey, come here, come. You wanna come here? Arlo, come here. Come here, you wanna say hi? Oh, no, he definitely does not want to say hi. Oh, the messages are pouring in from my birthday. It's funny being here because everyone starts to wake up around the same time. And so it's like 1 o'clock my time, and now people are waking up in California. But yeah, conscious rest. The next one is all of the health practices in the world won't work if you don't learn to fill your cup and fix the leaks. So that's also something we've been talking about a lot recently here, is like, what fills your cup? And this goes hand in hand with the conscious rest and the creativity and like the things that actually fill your cup, and hobbies would fill your cup. And so doing more of those, because when your cup is empty, like, you are, you know, you're not going to be able to heal your body, but also you're not going to have the energy to be putting forward in your soul's work, in your path, in your career, in your relationships. Like, you have to fill your cup first. I know it's so cliche, but like, this is so important right now. It's what keeps coming through. So I hope that resonates. And fix the leaks, as in like, what's not supporting you right now? Like, what relationships, and we'll get into those too, what things in your life are just draining your life force energy. We need to get that full and keep it full. And so we need to be in that flow where our day-to-day is supporting that process of keeping our cup full. All right, we're gonna move into relationships. This is so interesting, being so organized in a video. Okay, this is gonna be a long video because we still have a lot to cover. So relationships, romantically, I'm gonna talk about he because I date guys, but this can apply to whoever. So if he is lying, cheating, disrespecting you, leave. You'll be okay and the universe will support you on your own. I know those sound obvious, but being an empath, being someone who just didn't have boundaries before and like understand my self-worth, I dated some people. I think the 3 boyfriends that I had for like 3 years each, about 3 years each, they all cheated and lied. And one, I don't know if he fully cheated, but like, it was, there's different understandings of cheating too. Like, and so each one of them lied and was not loyal in my terms. And so I think that I stayed in those, even though I would find that stuff out, because I wanted to fix them. I believed them. And also just self-worth. If I had believed in my ability to support myself, in the universe supporting me when I choose me, and in how accurate that is. I'm trying to explain this, but like, when I quit my job, that was not in alignment with me, my truth. Like, I didn't feel good doing it. As soon as I quit it, all these other opportunities immediately opened up. Like, you will never be left just dry. Like, you won't be without options. I think I stayed in my last one because I was like, how will I support myself on my own? Like, how will I, because we lived in California together and like California was expensive and I just didn't believe I could do it on my own. And so I think subconsciously I was staying because of things like that. And then with the other ones, it's like, I think the next one is, just because they have qualities that you like doesn't mean that you have to settle for the things that are not what you want. And so like, I stayed in the relationship with the full-blown narcissist for so long, who was like really cheating. Like, he had he loved cheating, and he also claimed to be a sociopath. Like, he couldn't feel anything. And at the time I was just so young and naive. I was like, yeah, we'll fix it. But I stayed in that because he would meditate and because he would like claim to be spiritual and like read philosophy. And I just felt like, I'm into those things too. Like, we're perfect for each other. Like, the other things we'll fix. And it's like, I know that there will always be things in a healthy relationship that like you can fix and like work on together. But there are certain things that like you just cannot change. And personally, I would have told my younger self, get the hell out. Get the hell out. It doesn't matter if he meditates. The next one also meditated and did all the health stuff with me. And so I think I stayed for a long time too because of that. But the person that you want, like, you can have everything that you want. And so you don't have to settle. If you're settling, if you feel like you're settling, it's only something that you will know. If you feel like you're settling, then it's because you don't truly value yourself. You don't truly know your worth and your ability to have everything that you desire. And so I think that that's a really important one. And if you have the feeling that he's not the one, trust it. You will be supported. I like always had this inner feeling that the last one just wasn't the one. And I know that's bad, but it's not like it was in the front of my mind. It was like this small little under feeling. And he would always just convince me, like try to convince me, like, no, like, you know, we'll have kids together, it'll be great. And I just, every time he would say that, I would hear this little voice like, you don't want to have these kids. Like, and I tried to ignore it. I tried to make it go away for so long because of the other things that I saw that were good. And it just doesn't go away. It just doesn't go away. So you got to trust it. And if you have to play small and hide parts of who you are, they're not the one. They're not the one for you. Maybe it's a you thing. Like maybe you have to try being all that you are and see how they respond, and then have a conversation if they're not fully accepting you. But if after all that, they just cannot accept you for who you truly are, then they're not the one for you. You can be as expansive and big and curious and all these things. And if they can't support that, again, not the one. And I love this like meme that I saw that was like, when he says that you're too much, it's like, tell him like, okay, then go find less. You have so much to offer. You have so much to offer, and someone is going to love that and see that as so valuable. That's what I tell myself. And so everyone, this one too, in dating, so not just relationships, but like in dating, like in the beginning stages, if he's not putting in the effort the way that you want, he's maybe not the one. And so like in the beginning, if they're not messaging you the way that you want, like you also have to look at your attachment theory or styles, like that's important. But like, you know, I would have a guy who would message me like every 2 weeks, and I'm like, this is not showing me that you're interested, that you are ready to like put effort in. And so I was like, no, like once I found my self-worth again, I was like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to respond to this, or, you know, this is over. And so, yeah, you have to know your self-worth, and you get to have what you want. And so everyone else is a mirror of you, and let them teach you about your current self and choose to learn the lesson. And so in dating, I feel like whether it's a relationship or you're going on like first dates and second dates and all those things, just look at what they're mirroring to you, what's coming up for you in that situation, and learn from it. And when I say learn from it, I'm like, if it's triggering you, there's something to heal, right? And so how do we heal that? There's so many different ways. But I would choose, like if it's triggering, then I would tap on it. If it's really bothering me, then I would have a conversation about it. And that's another thing that I have in here is be okay with asking for what you need. And also asking, like if it's a dating situation, a new dating situation, asking what they're looking for. Like a part of me was so afraid of doing that before. Sorry, this is shaking. And if it's been shaking the whole time. A part of me was afraid to ask guys of like what they were looking for because I didn't want to scare them off. And then I realized, I was like, that's stupid. That's really stupid, because that's not honoring myself. Like I'm not even letting myself know what they want. And then I'm going down this road with this person, and then we end up finding that we want different things after not wasting, but spending all this time together that could have been spent in a more aligned situation had I not been afraid to speak up. If they don't respond well to your requests or to your questions, and if you're coming from a place of truth, then they're not the one, right? So the last one I have in romantic is research narcissists thoroughly and leave if you find yourself dating a full-blown. You won't fix them. The they're all 3 year, the full-blown narcissist one, like that, I had no idea what a narcissist was. He told me that he was getting help for being a narcissist. I was like, I had no idea. And then when I finally started to learn about them and what creates a narcissist and why we attract a narcissist and all these things, I was able to make really conscious decisions about the people that I'm dating by understanding behavior and seeing patterns. And so when I was dating someone for literally only like 2 weeks officially, 2 months in total, and I saw all the patterns of, you know, trying to manipulate me in different ways, I was like, oh, okay, no, we're done. There was also like a blow up thing at my friend's wedding, but I, you know, wasn't afraid at that point. I was like, universe, do you see me? I am putting my foot down. And then I think once we learn these lessons, we never have to learn them again. Like when we fully, truly move through these things within ourselves, these vibrations that are within our field that are attracting these situations, it's no longer in our field, and we are no longer creating matter that represents that. And so what was the other thing I was going to say on that? Oh, Call Her Daddy had a really good interview on narcissists, and it was like with a professional, and that one really helped me during that time. After I had left that 2-weeker, I watched that podcast and I was like, check. Like it was he was all the things. And so I was like, wow, okay. Like I'm really starting to see this now. And there was another narcissist one episode on Almost 30, a more recent one. And so those are 2 really good resources for understanding narcissism. And so now we're going to move into friendships. If they're not supporting you and in who you're becoming, they're not a good friend. Like if you are trying to step into more of the truth of who you are, into your next season, into your curiosity, and they're like, what are you doing? Like blah, 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 like this isn't you, like those kind of things, whatever it is, then that's not a true friend. Like what is a true friend, right? To me, a true friend is somebody who's going to be there to support you, to make wonderful memories with, to have a good time with. But if you're like having a good time sometimes, but then also not able to fully be yourself, and also like the next thing is jealousy. If they're jealous of you, and it's like, it's clear that they're jealous of you, and you have to like be small in ways because of the topic of what they're jealous about, like there has to be a conversation around that. I think, and I've experienced, there has to be a conversation around that, and you have to see how that, you know, plays out from there. And maybe you need space from that person while they heal the parts of them that are like expressing that jealousy. Like I don't think you have to cut out everyone. Like this person specifically, I did not cut out of my life. It's just we needed some space after that all came very apparent, and like she communicated that with me in our clearing conversation. And then there's other relationships where it just like it had to end. It had to end because it was like the foundation was jealousy, and was like cannot support because like you're in this place and I'm in this place and I'm not happy for you because I want to be there, and I feel, you know, I feel like you're growing away from me, and like it's bringing up all these things within me. And it's like you can grow through things, but if they're not willing to put in the work to like see their part in a relationship and a dynamic and see how they're not supporting you and being a good friend to you, maybe you're like cheering them on and all these things in their life, but they can't do that for you, then I don't think that's a good friendship. I think it has to be equal. There will be different seasons in life where like one person has to be there for the person more, and then vice versa, but it can't just be all you. And yeah, I think that it's really important to acknowledge that. Are they supporting you and allowing you to expand and be who you are? My best friends in the world have been with me for a long time because they support me in all my seasons, and I support them in all their seasons, and we're just in it for the long run, and going to enjoy this thing called life that we're doing, and not have attachment to how the other person is living. Like just live, and like, all right, like you need to go down that path. Like my best friend, when I was dating the narcissist, she tried telling me a few times, and I just had to experience that, I guess, for myself. And so she was always there, always supported me. And then when I got out of it, it's like, okay, like now we're into the next thing. And so that's a really good friend to me. Let's see. Friendships come to an end just like romantic relationships. I think I realized that in the past few years. Like you don't have to just keep them in your life because they're a friend. Like I think that there is an expiration date on certain friendships, and certain friendships are meant to be there for the long run, like I was just talking about. if they're doing things like talking poorly about other people, indirectly putting you down, addicted to toxic, unconscious behavior, then maybe some space is needed. I had a friend who was so supportive. Like, she was so supportive. Like, and I couldn't believe it. Like, she was there for me in a heartbeat if I needed her. And I'm really grateful for that. And she came into my life after I ended a relationship, the most recent long-term 3-year relationship. And she was just so there for me. And I think I accepted her into my life because I didn't really have that many friends, because I was, you know, in the chronic illness thing, and I was also just like in that relationship thing that I don't want to ever get into again, but where it's like all my time was really just going to that person and not so much to friends. I mean, we had just got out of COVID too, but all the things. And so having her, I was like, oh wow, like she's so supportive. And so I kept her in my life for a while, and I started to notice how like I wasn't feeling good. Like my nervous system wasn't, you have to really pay attention to that too. Like, how is your nervous system feeling in someone's energy? And I noticed like behaviors of like putting down other people for having not nice cars, and like just talking about her friends behind their back. And I was like, I cannot continue. I cannot continue. And but it doesn't have to end in like anger and all those like resentment for them being like that. I was just like, I personally just don't feel like I'm a better person when I'm with this person. And just because they're supportive doesn't mean that I have to keep them around in my inner circle. And so you can still love someone and be so grateful for someone and still want them to have everything in the world, but you don't have to spend so much time with them, because the 5 people that you spend the most time with are like who you become. And you really have to be aware of that and choose consciously to surround yourself around people who inspire you and support you and expand you. And so the next topic that we have is spirituality and consciousness. So we're actually kind of getting close to the end here. You have angels and guides who love and adore you, who are there to support you in any way you give permission, and who are waiting to communicate with you. I don't know why I'm reading this. Like, I know what it says and what I'm trying to say, but your angels and guides are there all the time, always by your side. They're assigned to you for this life. That's mentioned in the Law of One. I would also recommend reading the Law of One. And they're waiting for you to communicate with them and give them permission. They have to have permission to change things in your life. And when you give them permission, they can do so many like miraculous things and send you signs and all this stuff. And there's also this part where we have to learn the language of our angels and guides. Like, how do we communicate with them? We can start by asking for signs, asking for a sign of a butterfly or a bee or 111, 222, 201, whatever it is. Like, you create a language. But then also through getting deeper into your meditation and like exploring that space, that otherworldly, beautiful space, you can start to communicate with them internally and ask questions and receive clear guidance. And so that's why meditation, daily meditation, I feel like is so important, because we all have psychic abilities. We all have the ability to communicate with our angels and guides, with Jesus, whoever and whatever you believe in. We have the ability to connect with that. It's just a matter of quieting the mind and getting into that space. When I first started getting into meditation again, after not spending so much time in it, I would just be having such a hard time, because my brain would be like, no, let's think about this. No, let's go down this. No, let's think about that dress that you were just looking at on Instagram. And my brain was just so in control of all these things that we've been talking about. And so then I was breaking those patterns by choosing awareness and mindfulness and not allowing my brain to do that, because the brain has to be in equal union with the soul and the body for us to be living like our most highest potential in this human experience, from what I feel to be true. And so you can't let just your brain be in control, because the brain doesn't have the wisdom. The brain has the ability to choose with the free will what we do and create in this life, but it is you are a superhuman when you align that with your soul, which is the all-knowing, and when you align that with your body, which is your vessel here on earth, and you get to just have this incredible magical experience. And so you can communicate with your angels and guides. And like for me, when I really started getting back into this and going to my heart space, asking my angels and guides, like, what do I do? That's when I, decided to quit my job. That's when I decided to sell all my things in California and take this leap of faith, because before I turned 30, I knew that I would be so almost regretful if I didn't go travel the world, and if I didn't do van life, if I didn't get the dog that I love, if I didn't start making YouTube videos. I knew I would have regrets. I don't regret things usually, but I was like, I don't want to look back on my life and not have done this when I was in my 20s. That was just for me. I don't think that like you have to do things within your 20s. I think you can follow your dreams at any point in your life, in your teens, in your 80s, your 90s, like if you have the health to do so. And I don't know what it's like to be 80 or 90, but what I'm saying is it doesn't matter your age. That was just something for me. And so I was like, I need to do this and I need guidance. Like I need to know like what decisions to make from a soul aligned place. And so your soul is in alignment with your angels and guides. That's all part of source energy. And so when you tap into that space of the highest truth, you will be guided to the life that is most fulfilling to you. No life will be fulfilling to you if it is not in alignment with your soul. If you are just doing what other people are telling you you should do, what your parents told you you should do, what you think you should do based off society, based off of what's going on in your environment. Like when I was living in Orange County, it's a certain way of living, right? Really nice cars, like a lot of plastic surgery, a lot of this stuff. You really have to choose to remember who you are and remember your worth, to not fall into thinking that you're not good enough and that you need all these things in order to be good enough. And so that might be different depending on where you live, but each place that we live has a certain thing like that to it. And so that was a really good one. That really would have helped me. And so I would also encourage my younger self to learn about the quantum field and to understand this concept that there are infinite realities, that there is no such thing as time or space. So everything is happening right now. I say this all the time in my videos because this is so important. And when you wrap your mind around it, you're like, oh yes, I can have anything that I want because it's already happening. You already have it. That timeline already exists right now. And so with your mind, with your free will, you can choose it, you can select it. And then you will move towards it. And then those lessons will come up, but they're really just part of the unconscious. The unconscious is what's not true. What's true is source energy, is your higher self, is your soul, is that's what's true. And so when you see things that are like lack and fear and all these things, you get to be like, that's actually not real. What's real is abundance and love and infinite possibility. And I have my free will. I can have anything, be anything that I want. And so you get to move towards that timeline. We hear about jumping timelines. It's about selecting from the quantum field what you want and moving towards it by not giving importance to all the things that are not real. And so that's a little basic explanation of it, but I would say go understand that, research that, because that will change your entire life. That's what Joe Dispenza teaches in his programs that also work with neuroplasticity and retraining the brain. It's like when you do that, it's incredible. So life, this is the last topic. Life. If the things you want aren't happening right now in your perceived reality, then there are some things that you need to learn first. That's what we were just saying. So it doesn't have to be a long time. When you learn it quicker, you don't have to learn it anymore. So just infuse the truth in it. Don't give it importance. Don't attach to it. Decide what's true for you and move towards that and trust that it is unseen what you're going to trust in. And so it can be hard because there might be people around you who, try to say like, that's not possible, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I think I skipped over this, the whole family part, actually, I skipped over, but family and everybody, I would put, this sounds bad, but put people in boxes because there are certain topics that you just cannot go into with certain people. I had a friend in my life, I have a friend in my life who, she was raised in a Christian family, and they don't support a lot of things that she wants to do and become. And so she's like, I just don't understand. Like, I get this great idea and this inspiration. Like, I get into this space where I'm like feeling so in flow, and then I like bring it up to my family, and then they shoot it down, and then I'm in this rut again. And I'm like, well, the easy, simple solution is don't talk to them about that. Talk to them about other things, like the weather and like your family dog and like, you know, different things like that. And it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, I think that way you can still enjoy that person. If you have a narcissist in your life that like you just aren't ready to get rid of, hopefully it's not romantic, I think the best way to deal with them is to put them in a box and to just enjoy the parts that you can enjoy, but don't go places that you know you can't go, because like it's just, you know someone and you're not going to change them. And so you have to find ways that you can enjoy your time together and that they won't affect your soul's path, your mission on earth. You have to create those boundaries. So I'm glad that we made our way back to that one. And so yeah, we have to learn. I meant to, wow, this is my longest video yet. I meant to talk about my cult example. So when I was in college, I really wanted to work with big cats. Like, animals in general are like my deepest passion. Like, I love animals. I love nature. I love animals. I really wanted to work with big cats. I still hope that I can manifest that someday soon. But I was looking up all these places online, and I had did an application for one where it was like, you have to be a vegetarian, you have to be okay leaving your family behind, you have to be single, you have to like, you know, be completely committed to this lifestyle and like pretty much have no contact with people and just be like completely committed to this. And I was like, yeah, my boyfriend sucks, blah, 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 like I'll leave him, I'll do this and all that stuff. I'm a vegetarian, I'm vegan. And so I was signing up for this, and I really wanted that. I wanted travel, I wanted to go live in a new destination and work with exotic animals and all that. But it didn't work out for me. I don't remember why. And then during COVID time, I was watching Tiger King with my ex, and two of the three places in that show were places that I applied to. I applied to the cult. I was gonna potentially be in that cult that's in Tiger King. And then also the Carol Baskin, I forget, is it Carol Baskin? I was gonna work at that one too, because my dad used to live in Florida and it was right next door to that big cat sanctuary. But it just wasn't meant to be at that time. I had to learn about narcissism and about manipulation and about cults. Dating a narcissist is the same thing. It's also known as being in a cult of one. I had to understand that type of behavior. A cult leader is a narcissist. There's certain types of narcissists that you can learn about in that episode from Almost 30 that I was talking about, and how like some of them will be the best cult leaders. And so I'm really glad that that's not how I had to learn that lesson, and that the universe supported me in learning it in a smaller way through romantic relationships. Rather than you go into that, you become completely brainwashed. Like, those girls all got boob jobs and everything, and from what I remember in the show. And I don't know if all of them, I'm pretty sure all of them did. So anyway, sometimes things don't happen at the exact time that you want because you have to learn the lesson, right? And bring the truth through, choose yourself, choose your self-worth, choose to move towards the thing that you want that is in alignment with your soul. And then you don't have to learn all these different manifestations of the same lesson. You know, I kept attracting romantic relationships that also would resemble my bosses, that would also resemble people like friends, and also resemble, so that we just keep attracting it until we see it. And when we see it and we bring the truth in it, it is no longer, we alchemize it. To sum it all up, choose with your free will what you want. Let go of all attachment and importance. Do not let yourself believe in the unconscious trying to control you. Follow your joy and your curiosity. Surround yourself with people who inspire you and expand you. Follow your inner callings no matter what. Live in your authenticity by choosing to fully accept and love who you are. that is what I have for you today in this 50-minute video. So thank you so much for being here with me on my birthday, and I'm so grateful to be able to share this message in this way with all these experiences on this platform in France, doing van life with my dog. Like it all is so incredible to be able to say this. And so I hope that you found something in this deep dive for you that helps you in your soul's path of remembering the truth of who you are and getting what you want. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new here, leave a comment if you feel called to do so. I also now have one-on-one, what would I call them? Appointments? I don't know. You can work with me one-on-one in a few different ways. So I have coaching, which will go through all of this stuff, life, health, spirituality. And I just opened a new, so it was just one-on-one, like a one-off session. You can still do that, but now I have my 6-month program listed. So I used to do 6-month programs before, and I haven't done them for a while, but this morning I got the download. I was like, someone wants to work with you for 6 months and meet with you bi-weekly, so make that an offer. So I just put that up too. If you want to do that, that is now an option, and I would love to support you in whatever way that I can. And then the other one is a session where we go through, where I guide you into learning how to speak that language of your angels and guides and your divine team, so that you can have that as a resource to guide you through your journey. So pretty much you get to know and recognize and identify your angels and guides and learn like how to tap into that whenever you want. And so those are the 3 offers that I have right now. I will link them below if you want to work with me. And that's all I have for you today. I will see you in tomorrow's video. Oh, also, just a little update. I'm gonna go head to my thermal bath situation. I guess like it's a whole town built around thermal baths, around this like special water. I don't know. And so that's why I was barefaced today for this video. I'm usually barefaced, but the past few days I've been wearing some makeup. Today I was like, I'm just not gonna do that because I'm gonna get in this water, this fountain of youth. I'm gonna drink the water, bathe in it. I've been told to drink it, and just have a little spa day to myself. So hopefully I make it there on time. But with that, I will see you in tomorrow's video. Bye.